What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Mythic Plus. Today we got a 13 Algeth'Ar Academy on the menu. It's going to be a pretty good run that I did with a buddy of mine yesterday. Everyone else is going to be pugs except for the mage, so it is going to be able to, we are going to be able to communicate lust and everything like that to the mage as we're doing this key, but everything else is going to be pretty kind of improv. So first thing we want to do as a VDH over here is always get the haste buff. The more haste you have, the more resources you can generate, more souls you get. Souls are great. So I know sometimes, at least early in my Demon Hunter journey, it felt like you were getting a lot more value just by getting verse. I think in a lot of cases, you're going to always want haste. Pretty much every situation. So we'll go ahead and go over to the left here, wait for the patrol to go by. I'm going to go ahead and hit my Immolation Aura just so I can get a little bit of damage on these mobs as I'm pulling them. Use Flame Sigil to get a little bit of range, pull, get everything gathered up, and then I actually use my Fiery Brand to gather everything else here. I also want to meta on pull just so that I'm not getting bricked right as everything's kind of gathering up. I know I'm going to get meleeed in the back. There is a better way to do that, but that's okay. And then right here, we got all the mobs gathered up. We're going to try and minimize movement just because I do know that we have a Frost Mage and we have some people that, leave AoEs on the ground. We have like Defile, and I don't know if DK still play Defile, but then I'm going to commit a stun and try and kite away from the mobs just so I can reset the bleed stacks. Unfortunately, not able to do that, but going to be able to live pretty well just because my leech is so high. And then I actually do have my cheat proc here, so that is going to be, kind of what this pull is for, though. We absolutely blast. If you're making groups for this dungeon, I would always recommend just to have people with uncapped AoE. Someone that can absolutely blast on this pull, and unfortunately I do just go down there. The bleed just kind of takes off. I don't have anything to heal off of, but that is okay because we'll get the resurrection going here, and then we'll get the boss to spawn. That pull can be pretty scary. I know I had a lot of difficulty living it right at the beginning of the season too, so it really just does depend on how quickly your team can kill the pack, because it is going to be a lot of packs and a lot of tank defensives being used here. The other thing that I was keeping in mind when I was making this group is I know we have a Sin Rogue, and Sin Rogue is very, very good for this boss. They do get a lot of funnel damage off of these little minions that spawn, so keeping that in mind, we'll go ahead and drop all of our Hungry Lashers. It's kind of a community-wide agreed-upon thing that we will always move to the left together. And we'll kill the Lashers. I'll go ahead and taunt the Ancient Branch in over here. Make sure we get a kick on that. And this boss just kind of goes down. Make sure that you kind of restack up as soon as you can. Make sure that you always get hit by this circle. I know some people like to stand a little bit further out, but that circle is what saves you from the bleed that he puts on you. And then we'll go ahead and move left again. I'll make sure that I have my Fell Devastation so that I can get aggro on these Hungry Lashes as soon as they spawn. And I am missing one, so I'm going to go ahead and stun it just to make sure that I can fully get aggro, not have too many bleeds going around. I would always recommend, if you're playing Demon Hunter, just save Fell Dev for that specific spot, just because it will hit everything and it'll be the easiest way to get threat on everything, and it should all be in front of you. We know this wave of ads isn't going to actually spawn and hit us, so this will be good. We'll go ahead and take these out. And as you can see, our whole team is kind of pumping. There's a lot of ways to pad on this fight, but it doesn't seem like anyone's doing too much more damage than the other ones. It looks like we're all doing what we're supposed to do. The ads are dying quickly. I don't have to worry about dying too much. And this boss is incredibly, incredibly easy. So we're making good time as well. And this was a little bit of a different route than I usually do with pugs, just because my mage told me to do something a little bit different here. So we make a little bit better use of lust in this run, and then we also make better use of just kind of avoiding things that would be problematic. And I do make one routing mistake later on, but I'll point that out as well. So we'll jump on over here, and this is kind of the most boring guy ever, so I might honestly go through and skip ahead in the recording here. But I know some people like to just, throw stuff on and see the whole thing. So I will not skip ahead, but this Guardian Sentry, not a whole lot to do here. I always get out for the Expel Intruders just to let people know that it's coming. If people see other people running away, sometimes people just zone out and forget about it. Not a whole lot of ways to make this guy more efficient unless you're doing like MDI strats where you can snap things to this platform or that sort of thing. But It's kind of just like a good reset, good mental reset, good recovery pull. And we'll go ahead and take out this Guardian Sentry, and we'll move on towards Kroth's platform. The only thing you really need to worry about in Kroth's platform is just the bleeds from the birds. That's really the only thing that's going to kill you. Obviously, you want to avoid like frontals and that sort of thing. And then if you do have soothes, those are going to come in handy because the birds do actually hit you pretty hard. I know a lot of tanks can get bricked on this first pull too. So definitely have to be aware. We'll get a little bit of Fury here. And then we'll get our Feldev going on just so we don't get any Eagles going rogue here. And as you can see, that stack of that 6 stack of the bleed is actually hitting me pretty hard. I do have a lot of things to heal off of here. 8 stacks is going to hit even harder. You can see my health kind of rubber banding here. And then I'll get a nice little meta proc at the end, so that'll help me stay alive for the remainder of that bleed too, even when all the mobs are dead. We'll go ahead and Immo Aura to make sure we can get threat on these guys as they come down. Unfortunately, I still missed the Alpha Eagle. My mage hits it with a pretty juicy Glacial Spike there right as it spawns. And everything just gets enraged. So if you do have a Soothe, this is a time to soothe that Alpha Eagle. There's only 1 in this pack, so he's not going to be hitting me too hard, but I do have 9 stacks of the bleed, so as you can see, my health is going to be rubber banding a little bit, and the monk actually has to cocoon me there just to make sure that I don't die. Still don't have access to my cheat, which is pretty unfortunate. But that pull's going to go off without a hitch, and then we'll get 1 more wave of Alpha Eagles here. And then we will start looking for the boss. So this is the one where you definitely want to have a Soothe if available in your group. I think we have a Sin Rogue Shiv, I believe, is what goes off here. So they do get enraged, and then they get kind of bigger, and then I believe they actually do get soothed, if I remember correctly, but maybe not. Maybe they just kind of calm down on their own, so never mind. Still able to stay alive pretty easily, though. Not a whole lot of issues on VDH on this this dungeon, except for that first pull. And then once you get a little bit of gear, it's definitely a little bit easier to live there. The gear and the stats will make a huge difference in just being able to live that first pull. So for this boss, I just will pretty much not do anything the entire fight. I'm not going to lie to you. So we're always going to score on the air goal first. You'll actually see me score on fire, but it's okay because everyone else scores in the correct ones. But Kroth will come down here, and I'm just going to tank him exactly where he stands. The only thing I'm going to try and be a little bit more conscious of is using my Fiery Brand for the Savage Pecs if I don't have anything else. Using Feldev on Savage Pecs, that sort of thing. Just to make sure I stay higher health and we're not getting in like the danger zone, especially because I don't have access to cheat. And especially for VDHs, I find that bleeds are a little bit harder to live because you can't really parry them. I know you build a lot of crit on VDH, and you can't parry a bleed once it's already on you. So we'll go ahead and have the Savage Pec go out. We're going to Fiery Brand just so we have the damage reduction from the boss here. It'll also help heal us a little bit more with that the leech and everything like that. And I try and hold on to my meta proc as much as I can, and then we do get the first Ruinous Winds, so I actually double jump and I score on fire. Even though I did say air, I literally typed it in chat, so I go ahead and try and score again, but my team has already scored the 3 in the air. So this, you just want to dodge the tornadoes, make sure that you always get one of these orbs here. I was waiting just to make sure all the DPS that wanted one were able to take one, and then I'll get one at the end. It gives you a very large amount of haste, so you can start popping off, doing some good damage to this boss. And then we'll just move away for the Overpowering Gust, and then just move right back. Good to keep the boss nice and central here. Savage Pekka is going to come out. I have a meta proc, so I'm going to save that Fiery Brand here. Just because I'll be able to live this one very, very easily. And then we should go into our second intermission here. Ruinous Winds is going to come out. We're going to make sure that we can score on fire. I'll jump all the way over here. And it is very, very easy for VDHs to score on this. So if you can save your DPSs some movement or something like that, always good. I actually did also save a Fiery Brand for this burn phase just to make sure I can get a good amount of damage on the boss here. I'm not going to be a huge contributor of damage here, but we do get like a 7 million, 6 million health, something like that. Little push forward there. And the rest of the fight is kind of just a race, because the healing does get a little bit annoying the longer the fight goes on. But nothing too crazy on Croth, so just going to let it play forward. And then the end of this dungeon, so the first pull of the dungeon is going to be that hard one. That will kind of make or break the key if you can ace that first pull with Bloodlust. If the tank can live, if you can kill the pull fast enough. And then this is the other part that I see, especially in Pugs, kind of make or break the dungeon. I used to do double Ravager over here, these giant Ravagers with almost 11 million health on the 13. I used to do 2 of those in one pull, and I was kind of surprised why people weren't able to live that. Anything more than like a 10, I probably wouldn't recommend it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to the left here. You look like you're going to pull it, but you're not. And we'll go over here, we'll grab the big Ravager, the Foragers, and then we'll grab the other 4 Foragers over here. And these are going to snap to me too, so they are going to jump over to me. And this is where we commit our second Bloodlust, basically just for this Ravager. I am also just going to pop Darkness here, because I know there's a lot of Foragers jumping around, smacking people, so any damage that I can alleviate is good. And then we have that Vicious Ambush. This is going to go out. I believe the Mage invises it or vanishes it, which is a very, very good thing to do if you're able to, if you can meld it or something like that. Takes away a lot of damage from this pull, and we just absolutely melt this. Having 2 of these Ravagers is just going to murk your Pug groups. They do these like breaths, they do the charges, they leave a dot. It's just a lot of damage for a healer that isn't ready for it to do. So definitely be a little bit kinder to your groups. Make sure you can do that. I thought about grabbing 2 more of the Foragers with this pull, but we're really just going to focus on the Mana Fiends in this pull, making sure those get kicked. Don't need to be, we have tons of time on the clock as well, so we don't need to be crazy efficient. Do anything too insane here. My mage calls out that he's going to kick Star, so I go ahead and set my sights on the one that isn't Star. And we'll get like a little recovery pull after that Lust pull too. Because I would guess that people don't have cooldowns coming up here in a second. Alright. And this is where we do the second Ravager here. So we'll get these the 4 Foragers on these sides. We'll get the Ravager itself. And then we'll grab the other 2. We'll delay the Foragers just a little bit so that we're not having people jumping around all the time. Rift Breath comes out. We're going to make sure we get behind the Ravager here. Pop meta for some damage. And the Rogue absolutely cooks this pull, so we are going to be in a very good spot going into Veximus. This next Veximus platform, I know people like to kind of think we're still back in the day where VDHs could basically full CC this pull for the entire time, and you could just do the whole platform. I think without Lust, you should probably never do this platform altogether, especially in Pugs too. And then unfortunately, I do actually pull these Foragers here. I just get a little trigger happy. Those should have been pulled with the boss. So ordinarily, I would probably want to do the Foragers with the boss, but I was looking at this Corrupted Mana Fiend and the Battle Axes and that sort of thing, and I thought it was like, this is too small of a pull. So wanted to give people some more targets, get some more good funnel damage, I guess, that sort of thing. But ordinarily, you would want to save these Foragers for the boss just so we could get a little bit more boss damage and kill Veximus quicker. But not going to be too big of a deal. Might have just saved us a little bit of time, but definitely save those Foragers for the boss if you're able to, especially if you have a good funnel composition. If you don't have funnel, you can also just do this. What we just did here is pull them with this other mob, because we don't want to do this whole platform together. It's just going to be a lot of kicks, and a lot of groups will just kind of like stun at weird times, and stuff is CC locked, and it's just bad. Unfortunately, I also cheat here, which is a little awkward. Don't really know how I cheated there, but I also think I pressed meta as well. So now I don't have cheat or meta, but that is okay. The other thing too with these unruly textbooks is the damage that they do is pretty, negligible. Taking 1 tick of that is totally fine. I would probably just honestly save your kicks for the Mana Fiends. The Surges are going to be the casts that are going to like one-shot your group, and then the books, just let the cast go off and then stun them. If you let the cast go off and just stun them immediately, they will still put it on cooldown. They won't recast it again, and you won't have to commit a kick to it it really doesn't disrupt people a whole lot unless they are channeling an ability, which a lot of classes don't do anyway. So that was something that we were kind of talking about last night. Like, can't you just do that? And but yeah, save your stuns for those books after the cast goes off, because if you stun them during the cast, they'll just recast it again, and then you'll be -1 stun. This boss is going to follow the same kind of pattern as the first one, or I'm sorry, Croth. We're just going to go ahead and kind of keep him in the exact same spot. We're going to make sure that we televise that we are facing this frontal to the back of the room. We are not going to deviate from that at all. You definitely don't want to be spinning this boss around. I know a lot of tanks try and take it upon themselves to soak as many orbs as possible. That is a good way to just kind of make your team move too much. Like, my mage can stand over on the other side of the room and know 100% as long as he dodges his mechanics that he is going to be safe. Doesn't have to worry about my frontal, anything like that. And even when I do move, I make sure to face this towards the back of the room so he does not have to move. You know, the DK can stay over there pretty comfortably. The monk can stand on the side of the boss pretty comfortably. There's no one that's going to have to move unnecessarily because of me. And the other thing you can do is, you know, save the firebrand for the frontals. Also going to be totally fine. And we'll go ahead and soak up this Arcane Expulsion. We'll take out Veximus here shortly. Not a whole lot else you want to know about this, but just make sure you let your debuffs fall off. As you can see, I have 2 stacks of the soak. So I am going to, I think, end up getting towards 3 stacks here. But we actually get the intermission, so my stacks are going to fall off. But soaking 3 times as a DPS, you're going to need a defensive for sure when you soak that 3rd one. Get a nice meta proc here. You're going to be able to stay very, very safe for that last frontal that he's going to do here. All right. And then we'll get 1 more Arcane Explosion too, soak a few more orbs. And I know this boss felt really, really chaotic back in the day. I think they definitely dumbed this down quite a bit. So this fight just feels kind of like a recovery fight, nothing too crazy. Also, really no need to use Lust on this, so it's definitely better to just get like a nice meaty pull or something, save your time on trash, because this guy will not cause you a whole lot of issues, especially if people are doing the fight right. As you can see, no big issues there, nothing too crazy. So we're going into the last little stretch of this dungeon, 12 minutes on the clock. We got plenty of time here. And this pull is fine to just do by itself. We have the Mana Fiends. Looks like we have 3 Mana Fiends, I believe, so we'll have 3 Surges to make sure that we kick. Rogue calls out that he's got, or I'm sorry, the Mage calls out that he's got Star, so I'm going to focus my sights on anything that isn't Star. And I do see that other Surge get kicked, and I actually don't have faith in him, so I definitely kick Star there, and then I go back and try and stun, and then someone gets a nice knock up, and we're able to just take out the pull, because our team is absolutely pumping, but have faith in your homie. Was probably just waiting to the last second to kick it. And then this last area, there's a couple things that you do want to be on the lookout for. So these slams are going to do a lot of AoE damage. They are going to take people pretty low in a lot of cases. So it's kind of worth being a little bit more, I don't want to say risky, because it's all kind of calculated risk earlier in the dungeon, just so you have a little bit more time to take your time here. Doing these 3 by themselves is completely fine. The Echo Knight is going to do a slam, and then the bolts, as you can see, they hit for about 40% of someone's health. If at all possible, definitely make sure that you're saving kicks for when those bolts are going out. As you can see, the smash is going to come out. We'll kick the bolt, give the healer some time to top people off before the smash. And I think we might not even have a kick for that bolt. As you can see, that bolt goes off, but everyone's going to be at pretty high HP. So we can let those go off pretty easily. But yeah, you don't want to overlap the smash and the bolt, because the smash is going to take people low. If they get double smashed, double bolted, something like that, people can just get bricked. Definitely don't want to get that 3rd invoker over here with another Echo Knight, because 2 smashes and 3 bolts is just going to be pretty much impossible to kick or to keep kicks up consistently. So you would need a pretty good like CC rotation or something like that to make sure that you don't die to that. And the last pull of the dungeon, we're going to grab 3 of these Echo Knights and 1 of these invokers. Again, you want to make sure you're trying to kick these. I kick them usually to move them in these sorts of situations, just because I don't want them standing in. We do have 2 melee DPS, so I don't want them standing in these swirlies. But the Evoker is going to be the pretty much the primary target here. And then we can start making our way towards the boss, kiting backwards just a little bit. And once the Invoker and the first Echo Knight die, that's when we're going to go over to the boss. You can definitely take in a couple Echo Knights with the boss. This boss is pretty easy, so. And then I also do see that the double Arcane Smashes go out, so their big AoE has gone. I'll go ahead and grab the Echo of Dorogosa and drag her over into this corner over here. All the bosses in here are pretty simple. If you want to min-max, try and make sure that you have a couple stacks of the debuff for your cooldowns as well. You can get hit by a ball to get an extra stack. You can also get a stack when you get that Dispel. As you can see, the DK's got 2 stacks of the buff, so that's going to be a pretty beefy damage increase for him. And then we do get sucked in, and this is my signal to move the boss. So make sure to just try and keep the boss a little bit away from all those puddles where those orbs are going to spawn, just so people have some time to react. Definitely don't want to tank the boss on top of any of those pulsing orb creations. And I'm just going to make my way clockwise around the room. We're going to pop Lust here. And for the most part on this fight, I just use meta offensively, just so I can get 3 stacks of my Meteor Shower. And then my next Soul Cleave will summon a Meteor Shower. So anything that I can do offensively, because this boss realistically is not going to kill me. That Arcane Blast that she does on me is not really going to do any damage. So I am going to save meta just because I don't have my cheat quite yet. So if I get dropped low, I definitely want to make sure that I have a little bit of a failsafe for the next 30 seconds. But for the most part, very, very simple boss fight. I see that we're standing on a lot of those orb puddles, so I try and get her to move a little bit bigger here. Put her in the middle, and then we do get sucked in. She sucks in that little orb puddle right there, or it just kind of goes away at a very specific time. And there we go. Now we got all the orb puddles or the orb producers over on the other side of the room, and we have a pretty much a clear straight right behind us where we can move the boss. And this is the part where I basically have my cheat up. I know my meta is going to last for longer than I have cheat available as well. So go ahead and pop meta just for a little bit of extra damage here, a little more soul generation. And we're going to take out this boss, finish the dungeon with about 7 minutes left on the clock. So tons and tons of time left. Pretty clean run. I think we only had 1 death, and that was me dying to a bleed on the first pull. So not too shabby. But I will try and be better about uploading this week. Sorry, I was recovering from something last week, a little bit sick. So I'll be uploading more. And leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.